A royal life beyond appearances. People often look at royalty and assume a life of endless luxury, comfort, and perfection. When they hear that Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum got married, they imagine a fairy tale, grand palaces, elegant celebrations, and a life where everything is already complete. But what many fail to see is that behind the beauty of such a life, there can exist a quiet emptiness, especially for someone who suddenly finds themselves within its walls. Marriage, no matter where it happens, is not just about status or ceremony. It is about purpose, connection, and building a shared life. When a woman enters a royal family, her life changes in ways that are difficult to understand from the outside. Everything she once knew, her routines, her independence, her simple freedoms, can shift overnight. And sometimes, despite being surrounded by wealth and comfort, she may feel like she has nothing truly her own to do. Imagine waking up each day in a palace where every detail is already managed, where every need is already met before it is even spoken. At first, it may feel like a dream, but slowly, that same perfection can begin to feel like a limitation. Without a role, without a purpose, without something to call her own, even the most beautiful life can start to feel incomplete. For the wife of someone like Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum, this challenge can be even greater. The expectations are high, the attention is constant, and the room for personal expression can sometimes feel limited. She is expected to represent grace, dignity, and strength at all times. Yet behind that image, she is still a human being, someone who dreams, who wants to grow, and who wants to feel that her life has meaning. This is where understanding becomes important. A marriage should not place one partner in the shadow of the other. Instead, it should create a space where both individuals can grow, contribute, and feel valued. Even in a royal setting, this truth remains the same. A wife is not just a companion to stand beside her husband in public. She is a person with her own identity, her own ambitions, and her own voice. The idea that she has nothing to do is not just about physical tasks or responsibilities. It reflects a deeper issue, the need for purpose. Purpose is what gives life direction. It is what makes each day feel meaningful. Without it, even the most luxurious surroundings can feel empty. But this situation also presents an opportunity. Being part of a royal family comes with influence, resources, and the ability to make a difference on a larger scale. A woman in such a position can choose to shape her own path. She can become involved in charitable work, support causes that matter to her, promote education, health, or social change. She can use her platform not just to exist, but to create impact. It also requires support from her partner. A husband, especially one in a powerful position, must recognize the importance of giving his wife the space and encouragement to build her own identity. True strength in a relationship lies in lifting each other up, not in allowing one person to remain passive while the other carries all the visible roles. For someone like Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed Al Maktoum, leadership is not only about governing a city or representing a nation. It is also about leading within his own home, with understanding, respect, and partnership. Supporting his wife in finding her purpose is just as important as fulfilling his duties as a prince. At the same time, society must also change the way it views women in such positions. Instead of assuming that a life of luxury equals a life of fulfillment, there should be recognition of the need for individuality and purpose. A woman's value is not defined by her title or her surroundings, but by her ability to live a life that feels meaningful to her. In the end, the story is not about royal marriage alone. It is about a universal truth that every human being, regardless of their status, needs a sense of purpose. Whether in a small home or a grand palace, The desire to do something meaningful, to grow, and to feel valued remains the same. A royal life may look perfect from the outside, but true fulfillment comes from within. It comes from finding a role, creating impact, and building a life that goes beyond appearances. And perhaps the real success of such a marriage is not in how grand it looks, but in how deeply both partners support each other in becoming who they truly want to be. And as I stand in the silence of these grand halls, I begin to understand something I was never taught as a prince. I was trained to lead armies, to make decisions for millions, to carry the weight of a nation on my shoulders, but no one prepared me for the quiet responsibilities of a husband. No one told me that the person standing beside me might feel lost, not because she lacks anything, but because everything around her already exists without her needing to build it. I look at her sometimes and I see more than what the world sees. They see elegance, grace, perfection. I see questions in her eyes. I see a search for meaning, a silent desire to belong not just to me, but to her own life within these walls. And it makes me realize that giving someone a palace is easy, but giving them a purpose is something far more important. I cannot allow her to become a beautiful figure in a perfect world with no role of her own. She deserves more than that. She deserves to wake up with something that is hers, something she chooses, something she builds, something that gives her a sense of pride beyond being my wife. Because love is not about possession and marriage is not about placement. It is about partnership. If I truly am who people believe me to be, then my strength should not only be seen in how I rule, but in how I uplift the one who walks beside me. I want her to discover her own voice, to step beyond the expectations placed upon her, and to create something meaningful. Not because she must, but because she wants to. And perhaps in helping her find that purpose, I will also find a part of myself that has been missing. Because even a prince surrounded by everything can still feel incomplete. And maybe the truth is this: two people do not complete each other by standing still. They complete each other by growing side by side into something greater than they were before. Despite being surrounded by wealth and comfort, she may feel like she has nothing truly her own to do. Imagine waking up each day in a palace where every detail is already managed,